I said, how are y'all doing today? Come on. Guys, we want y'all to have fun. It's always a good excuse to come listen to country music in the middle of the day and get off work for a minute. Am I right? Well, I am a newbie to the realm of country music. I signed at Capitol Records in September, and they have had me running around the U.S. since then, but I have thoroughly enjoyed it. My main goal was, when I signed this record deal, I wanted to write my entire record myself. I wanted to co-produce my entire record myself, and I wanted to tell my stories, whether it had cuss words or weird stories in it. I wanted to tell my story, my true story, so that I could connect with people on that level. And luckily, I found a record deal, a record label that would let me do that. So I'm gonna have to tell y'all a few stories in between these songs so you can kind of know where I'm coming from. I gotta take y'all back to South Georgia for this first one. I was raised by two amazing human beings, Mike and Connie Hammack, and they started off in this little tiny single wide in the middle of a holler, and it had a maroon stripe on the side and orange shag carpet. We fancy now. So they started their entire lives in that little house in a little twin-sized bed. A few years later, they have their first baby boy, and slowly but surely they started building their lives. They built something from nothing. Well, probably, I guess 6 or 7 years after that, they made enough money that they could build the house Mama wanted. We called it the big house because, well, it was the first house we'd ever had that didn't have wheels, but we moved it up a little farther on the property, and we kept the trailer in the backyard because Daddy always said, you gotta remember where you come from. Well, when I was probably 6 years old, my older cousin, this fiery redhead named Jennifer, she was going to nursing school, didn't have any money, so Daddy let her move into that little single wide while she needed to, and every single day, I was a runaway. I would run down to that little trailer, scare my mama half to death, and I'd lay on that orange shag carpet with Jennifer, and we'd drink Dr. Pepper out of these teacups that people seemed to collect in the 90s. And we'd watch Jurassic Park every day, over and over and over again. And the thing is, that is a memory that I'll never forget in my life. And that's something I wanted to sing about. So when Natalie Hemby came into the room and she said, I want to write a song called Redhead, the first thing I thought of was Jennifer living in that little single wide with a maroon stripe and orange shag carpet, and how much that meant to me. So this is for Jennifer, this is Redhead. So this next song, it really did start it off for me. I was a staff writer for Universal Publishing for 2.5 years, where I was writing for other folks, writing for commercials or TV shows, whatever it is that would pay my rent, I was gonna write a song for it. And I did that for a while. I love writing. I love telling stories, and I love hearing them, but I always wanted to tell my own. And, well, I did that by accident. The way that the writer rooms work sometimes, if you're a staff writer, is they put you in a room, and they go, hey, today, you're going to write for Carrie Underwood. So I went in the room with two writers that have written a bunch of Carrie Underwood music, Troy Verges and Gordy Sampson, two great artists and writers in Nashville. And, well, we start talking about family, and I slowly start forgetting that I'm supposed to write for Carrie Underwood that day. I start talking about my sister, and she moved back home for a little bit with Mom and Pop, and she's in her 30s now and wasn't very happy about it, but she's only going to stay with Mom and Pop for a few months and figure out where she wanted to go next. Well, Molly had picked up this little dirty habit of smoking cigarettes, and the one thing that Mike Hammack, my daddy, does not like is cigarettes. So Molly worked out a system. She got this little fan. She put it on the farthest part of the property right behind the shed. She took every single extension cord we had in the Christmas decoration storage, and she lined them together. She roped them up. She has it running out there, so she's got power to the fan. And she kept stealing my gardening gloves. And there's no weeds getting pulled at Mom and Daddy's house, so I want to figure out what she's doing. So I followed her out one day, and she was standing out there with a gardening glove on this hand, cigarette in this hand so it doesn't smell like it, smoking the cigarette, blowing smoke into the back of the fan, and the fan blows it into the neighbor's yard. So she had a system. She's a smart woman. So the thing is, sisters, we know a lot about each other that we don't want Mom and Daddy knowing, so I told her I'd keep her secret. We go up to the gas station next day. She goes to order some Camel Crushes. The man says they're sold out, and the first thing my brain says is, well, damn, Molly, you must have smoked all the camels in the county last week. And she didn't think it was very funny, but to me, that reminded me of a Sammy Kershaw song or a Joe Diffie song my daddy used to play in his two-door Chevy truck. And that was what I was raised on. That's what I wanted to write. That was country music. So when we got in that room, we start talking about family. I forget I'm supposed to write for Carrie Underwood this day. I started talking about how my mama used to throw all these Tupperware parties when I was a kid. And my daddy has this one armchair that if the man sits down in it, he's asleep in a minute. And the only way to wake him up is if you turn off the football game. Somehow he wakes up. It's a miracle. And slowly but surely, this just became about me and my family and the people that made me. And slowly but surely, it became the first song I ever got to produce myself. And I got to put all my heart and soul in it. And when I signed at Capitol, they said that this was the first single. And I couldn't agree more, because I don't know about y'all, but the first thing I talk about to a stranger is my family. So this is my family tree. I hope that it connects with yours. I know I look a little silly with my ripped off sleeves and my scarf. We just got back from Albany, New York, and when I have to play in the North and the South in the same week, I don't pack very well. But I'm very happy to be back in the South, back around people that talk slow, like me. When I first got my job in Nashville, that was how I got my job. He said, you sing good and you talk slow, people like it. And well, that paid my bills for a few years, but I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm a little sleep deprived right now, but this next song, well, it came from my mama. A lot of my songs did. But my mama used to tell me every time that I had a heartbreak, she told me that every single hand that you ever hold, it's a lesson or it's a blessing. And you got to figure out which one it is that you got. If it's good love, you just pray to God that you realize it and you hold on to it as tight as you can for as long as God gives it to you. And if it's bad love, you learn what you must through that situation or that relationship. And you try to move on. You try to find that good love and learn what you can from the bad that's come your way. So I just went through a breakup when we went in the room to write this song. And I was trying so hard to just find a silver lining to a hurricane that seemed to be my life at the time. And we came up with this.